This liljokerautobroker coming to you live and direct from the world headquarters of liljokerautobroker. This is my office. So today we're going to talk about why dealers hate EVs, electronic vehicles, and there's a lot of reasons, and there's a lot of things to talk about. And before I get started, I just want to remind everyone that the only thing faster than an EV's acceleration is its depreciation. So much to talk about when it comes to EVs that I had to wear my glasses to make sure I get my content correct. So let me get started. The government wants electronic vehicles by 2035 to be fully electronic, which I don't think is going to happen at this point because they've gone way downhill. So let me give you the reasons that I have listed of why I do not think that this is going to happen, and more importantly, why dealers hate EVs. During the pandemic, EVs were worth a lot of money. People were paying unbelievable amounts of money for the EVs. Now, the people that still own those EVs from when they bought them during the pandemic, they are upside down. You're talking north of $20,000, $30,000 per vehicle. Think about that. You lost somewhere between $10,000, $30,000, maybe as high as $40,000, $50,000 on the more high-end stuff on the vehicle if you paid the pandemic full sticker price for the vehicle, which a lot of Americans did. Okay, now the glasses are coming off. This is how the electronic vehicle manufacturing works. You have Tesla. They're in a league of their own because Tesla is the only manufacturer, to my knowledge, that they only make the Tesla when it's ordered, okay? How does that separate them? This is how it separates them. When you got your other electronic vehicle companies, let's say Ford, Chevy, and there's a whole bunch of other small ones that have just started, what they do is they manufacture the EV, then they sell the EV to the franchise dealer, okay? So nobody has ordered the vehicle or anything else. They're just making the vehicles, selling them to the franchise dealer. Then the franchise dealer has to sit on that electronic vehicle until a customer, an end user, comes and buys that. Whereas Tesla, what they do not make the car until somebody orders the vehicle. Now, this is pretty hard to believe, but EVs have dropped so much in value, and I'm not making this up. Your electronic vehicle, after its first year, drops between 30 to 50% of its value. Now, European cars, they would lose traditionally, and this was before the pandemic, in 3 years, they lost half their value. So if you bought a $100,000 BMW, for example, in 3 years, let's say you had 40,000, 45,000 miles on it, it was worth $50,000. That's just a ballpark average. Now, EVs, they depreciate faster than a boat because they lose like 50% of their value after 1 year. So what a lot of people are doing now is they're buying like you can go to Hertz and buy a Tesla a year or two old for 50 cents on the dollar or less. And in some cases, you have to check. In most cases, you still get a $4,000 credit on the vehicle from the government when you buy the EV. Now, most of your domestic EVs, Ford being at the top of this list, Ford has stopped the production of the F-150 Lightnings. Remember when they showed the commercials where they lit up a whole house and it was like, oh, look at that. Well, they stopped production on them, and they lost, and this was months ago that I saw this statistic, they lost over $4 billion on EVs. And they lost over $65,000 per Mustang and Lightning that they sold to the public. Those are astonishing numbers. And also, you know, Tesla was started up by Elon Musk, which is one man. If you buy a domestic EV, Tesla now manufactures a converter that goes on top of the domestic charging cords to go into the Tesla plugins. That's some pretty interesting stuff. Okay, now there's more interesting stuff going on with the EVs. The company Rivian, they are having major financial issues. The word around the campfire is they can and may go bankrupt. They're having a lot of problems. There's another EV manufacturer. I want to make sure that I get all this right. It's called the Fisher. They've been having major problems as well. They're having a lot of electrical issues with their cars. They're probably pretty close to going bankrupt as well. There's another EV manufacturer, I believe, that is going bankrupt, and they are called Cano. It's spelled Canoo. They are very close to going bankrupt as well. So, as far as EVs being, the way to go in 2035, I just don't see that happening. They're very inconvenient. You have to plug them in. They only have a range of 300, 350 miles most, so you have to drive them in town, and they're having a lot of problems with them. And I didn't even talk about how expensive the batteries are to replace on them. The batteries, okay, they cost between $1,000 and $26,000 to replace on it. Some of the expensive ones, a Tesla battery, cost between $5,000 and $20,000. Now, if the battery fails during the manufacturer's warranty, you get it replaced. If it fails outside of the manufacturer's warranty, you pay for that out of pocket. The Porsche, they have a battery that costs upwards of $25,000 to replace, and I think they give somewhere between a 5 and an 8-year warranty on them. You would have to check with them, but my point is they are very, very expensive to replace the batteries in the EVs. So that when the batteries fail and the people have to come out of pocket with the money, they're hit with a huge repair bill, a replacement fee for that battery. I also want to mention the fact that it's much more difficult to get a loan on an EV now. A lot of places are requiring that you put a large down payment, because if they have to repossess the vehicle, it's worth 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar. So they have to have some kind of coverage on the front end of it in the event that they repossess the vehicle. And also your second tier finance companies, they are your subprime. So if you have a credit score, if you have a low credit score, you used to go to them to get a loan. Well, word has it that they are no longer lending money on EVs, or it's incredibly difficult to get a loan on an EV if you have subprime credit. During the pandemic, they were loaning just about anybody money on EVs. So it's more difficult to get a loan on the EVs. They're expensive when you buy them new. Like I said, they are much cheaper when you buy them a year old. You want to buy them a year old, make sure that you can still get the $4,000 tax credit on it, and then then you can move forward with your EV if that's the route that you want to go. So this is Little Joker, Auto Broker, and I am working for clicks. So please like and subscribe so that I can put my 14 years of experience to work for you.